What's up, YouTubers and all you fellow Linux users and gamers out there? This is Osirez as usual, and today we're going to take a look at Lightworks as requested by Egee. He makes other Linux gaming videos and also does coding on his channel. I'm going to leave the link to that in the description. So let's jump right into Lightworks. So actually, let me open this. So I tried to make this video a couple times and realized that I am no pro at it, making tutorials off the cuff. So what I'm going to do today is actually edit a video and let you guys follow along, and I'll explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. First, to install Lightworks, you need to go to lwks.com. So go to Downloads, Lightworks for Linux, click it, and you'll be presented with a deb file or an RPM file. If you're on Fedora or Red Hat or whatever like that, you're going to choose the RPM file, obviously. If you're on anything that's Debian based, whether it's Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Mate, Ubuntu Mate, all that stuff, you're going to choose the deb file. I've already got it installed, so you simply just click it. It takes you to this page, downloads it for you. I'm going to cancel this download. I don't need that. But it presents you with a warning. Basically, you need to have a proprietary drivers installed. Open source drivers are not supported and not recommended. You need to have the proprietary AMD or NVIDIA drivers installed for Lightworks to work correctly and use the GPU acceleration. But I'm assuming that if you're watching this channel, or at least you're a subscriber to this channel and you watch my gaming videos, that you probably already have the proprietary drivers installed anyways. But anyhow, so once you downloaded the deb file, you just double click it and it'll just install. You can close that. Once it's installed, you can open up your start menu, depending on whatever desktop you're on. Most desktops will let you just search for it, so we'll just search Lightworks, enter. It'll load itself up. Now you need to have an account with Lightworks. So from the website, you probably need to set up an account because it's going to ask you to log in for the first time so it can verify what your license is. You're probably going to be using the free license, but we'll get into that in a little more detail because there is a caveat, a gotcha, like most things in life, with the free account. Once you get that far, you'll be presented with what I guess is called the home screen. And here on the home screen, you have system settings. And I usually don't tool around with this type of stuff, but you can do a GPU test or an output test, show your licensing version. You can activate a license if you choose to buy it. It's very reasonably priced, $25 a month for the pro version. You do get some benefits of going pro, but as I said, we'll get into that later. You can full screen this if you want to. Magnetic alignment. I'm not even sure what that is. Like I said, I don't really mess with this stuff. Every once in a while, I come in here and actually turn the scaling down so you can get more stuff in the same space. But for the purpose of this video, we'll just leave that alone. And over here, we have, let me delete this. Destroyed. So over here, we have the project browser. And this is where your projects will reside that you've worked on in the past. So you can also create a new project from this screen. So we're going to create a new project right here, and we'll just call it, I don't know, I think I'll edit Broforce today. Broforce. And then we want to check our frame rate. So let me go to my file browser somewhere. Why is it not in my favorites list? Or am I just not seeing it? Oh, okay. Anyways, we'll go there. We'll go to where I keep my video files, and we'll find Broforce. Where you at, bro? All right. So if you look over on the right hand side, it tells you my frame rate is 59. So essentially it's 60. And so that's what we're going to set our project to. Now, if you have mixed files, files with mixed frame rates, like say 60 and 30, you want to set it to the highest frame rate. Auto, when I've used Lightworks in the past, auto doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to. So I just set whatever my highest frame rate is. So once you get typed in your thing, you typed in the name of your project, typed it, and then done the frame rate, you're just going to go ahead and double click. And you'll be inside of Lightworks now. It can be kind of confusing at first, because what Lightworks is a truly professional video editing piece of software. It has its roots deep. It's deeply rooted in the movie industry of yesteryear. And what they do is as they went from physical media to digital media, they transported over the same type of ideas that physical media had. So if you look up here, you have like rooms, like editing rooms. You have bins where you keep your collection of media, like when they used to have physical bins. Now they have virtual bins. So don't get hung up on the naming conventions. Like I said, I'll try to explain what I'm doing as I go along. But don't get hung up on the naming. This is not a general consumer usage type of software, or it's not intended to be, but you can use it. And I actually enjoy using it because it's really quick and easy to use. So let's get into actually importing some files. We'll start with down here. You have a button that says create link. Now what that does is if you import a file, instead of importing the file into like the project media, the project folder, or wherever the project folder is, it will just leave your media exactly where it's at and create a link. So you may want to do that. Then you have copy local. And what that does is exactly what it says. It'll copy over that same file to the project and edit the second file. And then you have transcode, which means that it'll transcode your media into something that's more Lightworks friendly. Depending on how, I would probably suggest that you use transcode when you're using a gameplay type video, because MP4s and lots of varieties of AVI files are not intended to be edited, and it can cause the system to slow down. But on the flip side, transcoded files tend to be a lot larger than the original file, but they're easier to edit. So it's kind of up to you. If you start editing a file and you're noticing you're getting a lot of skipping and playback issues, you may want to go back and transcode the file. But anyhow, so what we're going to do is we're going to edit Broforce, which is right here. It's a 17 gig file because it is probably an hour's worth of video or somewhere about that. So we're not going to transcode that because that'll take forever. We're going to just create a link. And there it is. So what I like to do is go over here to the bin and click the plus button and type in gameplay. This is where I'll put all my gameplay videos. All right. And then if you had audio, we'll type in audio. So let's go back to import. Import is this little white box with the red arrow. Let's find some music for a video. So let's see, streaming. Where do I keep my music at? Sounds, music. We'll just pick one. Right. All right. So we'll take our music file and drag it into audio. There. Now it's organized. So up here you have clips. That's all your clips. Edits, which we don't have any of yet. Everything. It shows you all the clips that are associated in the most recent clips. But I usually just put my stuff down here so it makes logical sense to me. Now to start a new edit, you'll go down to this thing that looks like 3 bars. You can always hover over stuff to see what it actually does also. So create a new edit. Now you notice that it's outlined in red. Outlined in red, it means that you're actually editing this timeline in preview. If you double click something over here, you get it in blue, which means you're not editing it. So we'll close that. Anyhow, so we can take this and drag and drop. Actually, you know what I like to do? I like to delete the audio files that are automatically generated and create my own. Add track, audio, number of tracks 2 because it's in stereo, and there we go, 2. And then go down and create a stereo pairs. That way they stay linked together. And there we go. It's that simple. It's that simple. All right, so we have now some information in our timeline. And you can see how quick it actually scrolls. It's pretty nice. So let's do a quick preview of it. I usually use 2 monitors, but for the obviously I don't want to capture 2 monitors on a tutorial, so everything's kind of scrunched up in here. Let's actually close this. I also like to right click on this timeline area in the bar and scroll down. Let me pause that. Scroll down to, where is it at? Oh, audio mixer panel. That way we can get some levels here. All right, so we've done that. And we can see our levels now. Pretty sweet. All right, we got that far. What else would we like to do? Let's say we want to put our intro in this. So we go back to the beginning. And we'll import another file. And let me find my intro. So here's my intro. So it's 30 frames per second. Remember we made this a 60 frame per second project. So this will work because 60 is higher than 30, obviously. So we'll import that. Throw that. Well, I'm make another bin. Just call it miscellaneous. And put it in there. All right. So let's just say we need to find where we want to take this now and put it in there. Well, we can do that a couple different ways. You can cut and move the clip that's in the timeline, or you can double click this. You select the in point and an out point. What that does is select the area that you actually want to use, not the entire clip, which is something that you really need to get familiar with when using Lightworks. It uses in and out points, like an actual editor would. So I'll put the in at the beginning, press I to do that, or select this button here, and then go all the way to the end, and that's my out point. O for out. So, and then you could put here, replace into target edit. And then it automatically put it there. See that? Pretty easy, huh? All right, so it will go something like this. Now, let's just say we wanted to transition. Now, remember, you can use your scroll wheel on your mouse to go to the next clip point, beginning, end, or next clip, basically the start and ends of all the clip points. So I just scroll back to the beginning of this. You can either right click here or go down here to effects, which will bring up your effects. This thing has professional level of effects. Also, I highly recommend that you go through here and play with them. Pretty nice. But anyways, so we want to do mixes. What would we want to use? Let's just say we wanted to use a dissolve. You select your frames here. Your frames tells it how many frames it would actually go through it. So if you're doing 60 frames per second, that would be a 60 would be a 1 second transition, so on and so on. So just hit add, and there it is. And here's the effects box so that you can manipulate that effect. I usually just leave the effect at default for the most part. So let's check it out. And we have a nice dissolve effect there. And then, we like to put one on the other end also. So this time we'll just right click this area, go to transitions, add another dissolve, and it just automatically puts it there. Sweet. All right, we got all that. Now let's say that we want to put by the way, push the control button and scrolling the mouse wheel up and down will zoom in and out. So let's just say we want some title here, a title effect. Put it where you want it. Go to effects and look for titles. As soon as I find it, there we go, titles. And this will preview the type of title that you're going to use. You've got the crawling title, the rolling title, and and it tells you what it is. Create text that crawls from right to left. Create text which rolls up the top of the screen, and then it's the regular title. I'll go with the regular title. And all right. Before you do that, so like I said, you need to really get familiar with in and out points. If I had just added a title, it would have added a title to this entire clip all the way to the end, which would have been like an hour-long title. We don't want that. Let's just say right there where that bomb exploded, we'll put BAM. I don't know why we would do that, but we would do that. So let's find the area where we want it and put an I for in, and then O for out. Effects, titles, add. And then we'll just put right here at the top, we type what we want. BAM. And close that. And there's our BAM. And we could drag it around, do whatever we want. It's pretty simple. Let's just say now we can manipulate this title from this effects box if we wanted to. You can change the font. Let's get a cool font. We'll go with Saucer. BAM. All right, face. You can change the color of the text and all that here. Here you can change the position, anchor point, shadow. Like, let's say we wanted a shadow on this thingy majiggy. It is already enabled, so we can't really see it because our preview window's so small. But okay, let's see. Let's make this timeline smaller because space. All right. You slide this stuff around, and you notice I'm getting the little turning wheel thing saying it's taking a while to do stuff. That's because we should have transcoded this. An MP4 this size will take a bit. But see, now we have a shadow. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's now a better shadow behind BAM. We can add an outline here. Hit enable. And we have an outline. I don't really care for outlines. And then we can have a in and out effect. So fade or typewriter. So let's go with typewriter and then fade out. That'd be cool. So let's preview that. That was really quick. Let's see if we can. Now, I guess we're going to learn something on the fly because I don't really know how to do this. But let's make this longer. All right. So also in Lightworks, if you have tracks enabled, you will edit everything inside that space that you're doing. So to make sure that we don't accidentally edit something else, I'll turn off these other tracks and go to this track and make this smaller because it's in the way. It's kind of annoying. All right. And then we'll take this track and stretch it. I don't know how long I stretched it, but it's probably something ridiculous. All right, so let's preview that. All right, that's pretty cool. Whatever. Now we have a title effect. What else can we do in this? All right, so let's just say you don't want all this extra clip on here no more. You decided that from this point on you want to just delete the rest of the video. You just hit now. Remember, okay, to get rid of these in and out points, just go over here, or you could press P. But this diamond with nothing in the middle of it, click on it. Re-enable all your tracks or hit all. Press I. Go to the end, press O, and then you would to delete it and get rid of the dead space, you would select this last one, this last icon right here, or to just delete those and leave the space. We'll do this. So the shortcut for this one would be Z, and the shortcut for the next one would be X. So let's hit Z and see what we got. So that deleted everything after that point. Cool, sweet. So we still have space to add things and stuffs. All right. So what else do we need in our video? Like, okay, so let's just say we didn't want the game audio. We if you click this advanced button down here at the bottom. Go away, clock. Go away, clock. All right. All right, that's getting annoying. All right. Oh my God, that's annoying. All right. So if we click this advanced button down at the bottom, we have some extra information to the right. Right here is the speed of the clip. Next is the gain. The volume of the track. And then next to it is the clip gain. Gain and volume are not the same thing. Got to remember that. The best way to mute a track is just scroll down to the gain till it gets to mute. And you would do that for both left and right. I'm not sure how to do them both at the same time, but I just manually do left and right, and that will make it silent. But it only does it per clip. So if I go back to this clip that's kind of greenish over here, you notice that it's still at 0. But that's our intro, so we'll leave that for now. But over here, we want to mute this one also. Stop it. Mute. All right, so when we play the clip, there will be no sounds. And the reason we take out the sound, oh, look at that there's a dead space there. So what we want to do is zoom in, find this dead space, press I, go to the end of the dead space, which is right about here. Let's go back a couple frames by pressing this button up here and press O for in. So you got your in and you got your out. And we will press X to not only delete this area, but close up the space that is left in it. So X and no more space. See that? Sweet. All right. Now, the reason we got rid of the volume is because we're going to add another track, add track, another audio track, and we'll just make this one. And it's going to do it after A2, add, and we're going to go to audio in our clip bin and just see now what it tries to do here is you could try to put it in a stereo or just drag it all the way down and it'll just make it a single audio. I'm going to turn down the gain a bit because I know that this song is probably loud. There. And we have music now. Hold on. So it didn't go to the beginning. So what we need to do is you have a smart mouse in Lightworks. So it changes depending on where you're at. Is what that means. So if I take my mouse and put it like in the center of the clip, it'll show an arrow pointing left and right. With that, you can then drag the clips. So we're going to make sure it snaps to the beginning. And then we're good. Let's make this back small. Now we have music for our track. All right, cool. But it's overlapping our intro. We don't really want that. So let's zoom in here. And we can do this a couple of ways, but let me show you something. What we're going to do is automated volume. And how we're going to do that is we're going to zoom in a little bit more. Right here at this dissolve, we're going to make an audio point or an automation point by pushing this plus over here. And if you look, it made a little point there. And then we're going to make another point at the end of that dissolve. And now we have another point. Now you can, now at this point, we'll just, where'd it go? We'll just change the volume here. I'm just scrolling the mouse wheel up and down. Or you can actually just manually punch in a number. That's up to you. But we'll just scroll it down to mute at this point. And then if we go to the end of this dissolve, to the next dissolve, we'll add another point. Go to the next point of the dissolve and add another point. And at this point, we'll just bring this volume back up to whatever it is that we had. I guess it was at 0. Yes, it was at 0. So let's see how that works out in our preview. Perfect. Nice little fade in, fade out with the difference. Now our intro is kind of loud compared to everything else, but you can fix it the same way as you just did the volume thing. So righteousness. All right, now let's say you wanted to overlap some video. Well, I usually use end cards in my videos, so that's a good way to show you how to overlap a video. So we're going to import another file. As soon as I find this one, it's not there. It's not there. And there, GAMP, end card, PNG. So this is a good way to show you how to insert a picture files. Also, I use PNGs because they have built-in transparencies. So let's take our PNG and just drag it in here. Actually, let's not do that. I'll show you why we won't do that. If you just take something, it'll make it at a default length. Maybe you don't want it to be this long. So let's to get rid of something, you just make sure that the mouse has the left and right arrow cursor next to the mouse cursor, and just drag it into some empty space, and it just deletes it. But if we wanted it to be a certain length, once again, we're going to use in and out points. So at the end of this, actually, you know what? I like to do it like this. We'll put a new track, add track. This one's going to be a video track, and we'll put it before V1, add. All right. And then we'll take this. No, I'm not going to take that. Then we're going to put an in point there, out point there. There we go. Just double click it, bring up the preview, and press this icon right here to just stick it in there. There we go. You have to use Lightworks for a little while for you to actually get what's going on here. It's a bit confusing, especially if you're coming from Kdenlive Library, even way more, especially if you're coming from something like OpenShot. This is not like Vegas or Premiere Pro either. Nothing like those. But once you start using it for a while, what I really suggest that you do is that you just start using it as you come across problems. I found plenty of Lightworks videos that are really short and to the point and helps you with specific things. And that's how I learned it. But anyways. All right, so if we want to add our video inside that blank space for our end card, what I think we would do, as I said, I'm no professional, but what Logic's telling me to do is add another track, video track, and we'll put this guess right there. We're going to get rid of the in and out points. To get rid of all the in and out points, you got to enable all the tracks. Just enable this one. Well, these two, so I can go here. And then create an endpoint. Just the endpoint. One endpoint. And then press Z. And that'll make a cut. Only on one end. Then I could take that and put that above it, because we want that to blend into the track that's beneath it. Enable that one. And then, I'm not sure why that's there. Go to Effects, Video DVEs, DVE, and put it on that clip. Close the effects. Now, what we're going to want to do is resize this or scale it. So we can do that by changing the master. And you can also drag this around, or you can change the position from the effects panel over here. It's really fluid if you haven't noticed. You can do it like that, or you can go over here and drag it around. And there you go. And you can tweak that so it fits completely in there if you want to. Let's try 0.70. It's better. I don't really care. So just preview it. There we go. And there you have it. Now, let's say you wanted to fade that out. Fading out is a little bit convoluted, as everything is in Lightworks. To do a fade out, what you would do is do a transition, actually. No, that doesn't make any sense, but it will. Transitions. Where are you? Mixes. That's right. They're called mixes. So we'll just add a mix there. And actually, let's go and close the effects thing. And preview it. And to make sure it let's see. All right. So it kind of fades out, but it fades out at a different time because of the dissolve. So maybe we want to put another dissolve effects and put it on the track below it also. And let's see what it does now. And there we go. We have a fade out. Sweet, right? All right, cool. Now, if you zoom all the way out, you notice we have all this area of blank space. How do we get rid of that? Same way we delete everything else. What you need to do is re-enable all the tracks. Remember, you're only editing the tracks that are enabled. All. Go back to this position over here. So I'll zoom in so you can see it. Press N. Now notice how it puts endpoints on all of them. And then go to the end, press O. And then either click this icon or press X. And now if we zoom all the way out, we only have stuff on the timeline that we actually wanted. Is there anything else we need to go over? So, I mean, we got a transition here. And then we have our title right there. I think that's good enough. So let's talk about getting the file out of here. So down here, we have this white box with the yellow button, which is our export options. Now this is where the licensing issue comes into play. With the free license, you cannot export 1080p video, which is a crying shame. I really wish they would change that. But there is a caveat. There is a way to do that. You can either choose YouTube 720, and it gives you the option of 30 frames or 60 frames per second at 720p. You can do 720p 60 frames per second to YouTube, which will basically just render out a local file that you can upload to YouTube, or you can enter your username, password, and the tags, and it'll upload it to YouTube for you. I do it myself personally. Or you can upload to Vimeo at 1080p, 30 or 60 frames per second. The problem with Vimeo is that you only get a limited amount of uploads per month, which is also a shame. And it won't allow you to render it unless you put in your username and log in right here. So this is where, for me, Lightworks falls on its face compared to the other video editors out there that are open source and free, completely free. I honestly prefer to use Lightworks because once you understand it, once you start to understand how it works and learn the keyboard shortcuts, it is vastly superior than anything else that's a video editor on Linux. Like, it's not a comparison. It's really not a comparison. This is a professional grade video editor. Uses full GPU acceleration. It will render on the GPU and everything. But I don't know if you've even noticed, but some of my videos are actually in 720p, because I'll start to edit a video, render it out, and then realize I don't have any more upload to Vimeo. By the way, if you upload it to Vimeo, you also still get a locally rendered file, so you can upload it to YouTube. So I don't know. I don't know what to say there. It's kind of stupid. There's just no way around that. But that hopefully I gave you a little bit of insight on how to use Lightworks. I really didn't have any direction for this video or for this tutorial, so it was kind of all over the place. But I tried to hit most of the major points and the issues that most people will end up running into when they first start using Lightworks. There's plenty of other things to be done, but as I said, the best thing to really do is just jump into it. And as you hit a problem, learn the problem as it's presented to you. To me, that's just the best way to learn anything, honestly. If you ever get into a problem where you don't know the keyboard shortcuts or the keys that you need to push, you can always go down here to this little man with the gear behind him and go to keys, change key assignments, and this will give you the full list of all the keyboard shortcuts that are in Lightworks. And there's also a search function down here in the bottom. You can also rearrange the keyboard shortcuts if you so chose to. What else is there? And also another thing to note, that Lightworks auto saves. I don't know how often it saves or when it saves. There is no save button, if you haven't noticed. It just magically saves. Anytime I close it and bring it back, it's just there. I don't know how it does it, but it does it. So like if I just close this and then go back and open it, I just click here, go to my room, and it's just there. You see how quick that is too? Lightworks is super, super fast. As I said before, MP4s are not meant to be edited, and usually they cause a little bit of slowdown. But this scrolls like very smoothly through it and edits really quickly. And I didn't even transcode it. If I had transcoded it, there would have been like nearly zero delay at all, which is awesome. You can always back out of here. And that's pretty much it. All right, let's go over the licensing and stuff on the Lightworks website real quick. Let's go back to it, lwks.com, in case you forgot. We're going to go to Shop, Lightworks Pro. And let's talk about this. So, if you do like Lightworks and you need to get more out of Lightworks than what you're currently offered in the free version, you can buy the Pro version. And the Pro version affords you a lot more options. Let's make this a little bit bigger because YOLO. All right, so it gives you more options, and sadly, it doesn't show you exactly what those options are. All right, so here we go. Compare versions. The free version, as I showed you earlier, has some limitations to it. But the Pro version has some better stuff that you might find useful. User-definable project locations, which doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Advanced project sharing, so you can actually do cooperational editing with somebody else who's not with you. So remote editing. Two people can be working. Sort of like if you were working on a Google Doc, you and a friend in two different places, and he'll see what you're doing, you'll see what he's doing. Lightworks is able to do that. There's a stereoscopic output, I guess, in case you want 3D support. Blackmagic and Matrix I/O support, in case you have some professional video hardware. Timeline rendering. Lightworks console support. And Boris Graffiti and Boris Effects packages. But here's the important stuff. The export. This is where you as a Linux YouTuber probably are more interested in. The most interested in. So the Pro version will allow you to do 4K export, up to 4K exports on Vimeo or YouTube or whatever you want. So that includes 1080p. That's the biggest reason to go to Pro in my opinion, is you can export 4K video, 1080p video, 2K video, whatever video you want at whatever frame rate you want with the Pro version. You can also do, in addition, DVD and Blu-rays and AVI, MXF, MOV, WAV, WMV, image sequences. All of the export options are unlocked at that point. That would be the main reason why you would get the Pro version. As I said, the Pro version is $24.99 per month, which is a very reasonable price. Especially once you start understanding the flow of the workflow of Lightworks and the keyboard shortcuts. It is by large and by far the absolute quickest, fastest, and most professional video editor that's available to the general market on Linux. And if you were getting to like more, so let me back up. The monthly license does not get you the Boris effects, and that's the only thing you don't get that you do get with these other ones, the Boris effects and graffiti packages, which actually says it's 164 and Mac OS X only. So I guess it doesn't matter. So really, the $24.99 package is where it's really at, and that is what that is. If you wanted to export 4K video or 2K video or 1080p video, this is what you would get. Sad but true. That's my quick look at Lightworks. Kdenlive is also really good if you're not into the Lightworks thing. Kdenlive, Kdenlive is going through a heavy development process right now, and they've even added GPU effects. If anybody wants to know about the GPU acceleration, Just let me know in the comment section, and we'll go over the GPU acceleration. I know I was all over the place with this video, but I'm not really a Lightworks pro user. Like I'm not an expert in Lightworks. I just use it. I know how to use it because whenever I had a problem, I just learned it and kept going. But that's my look at Lightworks for Linux, and you can get it on Windows and I believe OS X also. But if you have any more questions, if I missed something, go ahead and leave in the comments. As usual, this is Osirez, and I'm out of here.